Now going over to the political part podcast, you have Biden tweets tariffs and gets ratioed for hypocrisy. Which, I don't know, perhaps, again, old soul moment. Every time I hear the word hypocrisy, I think of one of the best comedians of all time, Norm Macdonald, when, most famously, he was roasting OJ and we actually got him fired off SNL because he wouldn't stop with those brilliant jokes. He goes, oh yeah, no, I mean, yeah, the worst thing is, though, not the murder, the hypocrisy. Which, that might be the worst Norm impression you've heard in 2024. However, hopefully it made you smile because it's so bad, or if I had a modicum of credit or just a little bit okay or good. Let me know in the comments. But again, if it makes someone smile or a good pun makes your day, it's worth it. But nevertheless, now this comes to us straight from the horse's mouth, or more accurately, more realistically, probably from Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, because it's been shown multiple times where he would actually tweet for the president, and yeah, people started to catch on pretty quick. So, did Biden actually write this? I don't want to say it's a 0% chance, but it's probably 0.0076729%. I would say that's a fair ballpark on terms. And again, I know many politicians don't do their own tweets, which I think that should be illegal, actually. That, again, Elon has the technology with the facial recognition. I think it should be a law that if you're a political figure and you want to have a political, a profile page that's just for you and not just your administration, then you should have to be, recognized as the actual user. But I partially digress. Again, this comes straight from his profile. He says, quote, I just imposed a series of tariffs on goods made in China. Or, let's be honest, every time we hear that word, we always think, China. But nevertheless, on the steel and aluminum, not so much. But now more. But again, back into the realistic voice. So Biden says, quote, I just imposed a series of tariffs on goods made in China, 25% on steel and aluminum, 50% on semiconductors, 100% on EVs, and 50% on solar panels. China is determined to dominate these industries. I'm determined to ensure America leads the world in them. Unquote. I got 16.4 million views and 50,000 likes, which is statistically known as terrible. Again, this should be a good sample size of people on the left, people on the right, people in the middle. It's his profile page, or if anything, I think more people on the left would follow him, politically speaking, because again, he's a Democrat, he's left ideology, and yet he is mostly ratioed. Spoiler alert. And fascinating enough, one of the most hilarious forms of irony was the United Auto Workers spending hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the years bolstering up Democrats and Biden administration when they quite literally are outlawing and making their products illegal. So you look at where American automotive companies make most of the money, it's V8s, it's SUVs, it's trucks. They're losing money hand over fist on EVs. Ford lost $132 or $136,000 per EV sold in Q1 2024. This year. They're moving the right. Rivian, another American company, now the traditional one, they lost about $34,000 per vehicle. They're all struggling. Again, it takes years to make a profit on EVs. I would also argue long term is a terrible investment because the batteries are disposable garbage and will cost more than a Honda Civic to replace. But I partially digress. Biden for years has been against when Trump did tariffs. Everyone told us it's bad, it's terrible, it's anti-free market. Which I would argue, if you didn't have Republicans and Democrats make so many laws in the United States that are anti-business, you wouldn't need tariffs at all, or maybe just to a small extent. But it's so prohibited to manufacture things in the United States. There's so many rules, so many regulations. I know so many automotive companies or small mom and pop automotive shops and car mod shops have gone out of the under the past couple of years because the EPA cracking down on them more and more. Just suppose that with China is building more coal plants than you can possibly fathom. I think it's like 27 a year now, a lot. But nevertheless, let's go into the comments. Well, the first one comes from Catturd saying, "This you." It's a picture of a tweet from Joe Biden in 2019. Saying Trump doesn't get the basics. He thinks his tariffs are being paid by China. Any freshman econ student will tell you that the American people are paying the tariffs. The cashiers at Target see what's going on. They know more about the economics than Trump. Unquote. So, granted, with most politicians, if it wasn't for hypocritical standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all, I would argue. But this one's even more blaring because, yeah, Trump got roasted for those tariffs. And now Joe's doing in one case, is it exactly? I think it is exactly the same tariff on steel and aluminum, and 50% of semiconductors, 100% on EVs, which is kind of interesting because again, the government in the U.S. wants cheap EVs so that everyone will adopt them. Again, people that can't do math or calculate long-term ROI of purchasing a vehicle and wanting to work on it, those people. But nevertheless, they want large market saturation. One of the ways you can do that is by having a very low price point. China has the best model for low price points, partially because their government is more business friendly. There are a myriad of reasons, and some not humane reasons as well. But it's one of those instances where you cannot beat China on a price point basis. Now, putting 100% tariff on their EVs, interestingly enough, how is he defining this? He says goods made in China. China, again, a wise man never underestimates his enemy in politics and sports balls, business, never. China's already caught on to this methodology. They're starting to build vehicles in Mexico. And guess what? Those tariffs are basically, I don't think, because of the NAFTA agreement, you just have those you just have them come over from Mexico. So BYD, the most famous, fastest growing automotive company in China, which does make hybrids, but they also make a lot of their EVs. They're the number one EV producer in China. Well, they're going to be having factories in Mexico, and they'll just ship across the border. Again, that's legal. They're not illegally shipping across the border. So at this point, you could ship probably a Boeing 737 across the southern border, no one would notice. I partially digress on that point. But yeah, would it be considered made in China if China puts all the investment in Mexico? So China owns the factory. In some cases, they just supply the raw materials. Again, depending on where you are, usually the United States, made in the USA has to be over, I think it's 75% or plus of the parts, the actual manufacturing components have to be made in the USA, as well as assembled in the USA. And that's why, and it's so unfortunate, if you go to like a Home Depot, you see all these tools, it says made in the USA, asterisk, with global materials or components, which is BS because it's not really made in the USA then. It's assembled in the USA, which, again, and I'll go on a whole rant on that another time. Now, scrolling down more and more. Well, and then, again, that was the ultimate ratio. So, again, Catturd had that tweet showing how Biden in 2019 said it's bad. That got 55,000 likes, and Biden only got 50,000 likes. That being said, Biden got 50,000 likes. So there should be a lot of comments that are giving him accolades for this. Now, Paul Zupa says, quote, I'm old enough to remember when Joe Biden said tariffs on China were a bad idea. What's he going to do next? Build a border and defend America? I got 5.7 thousand likes, which, I don't know about that. Here we go. Well, A+ marketing because you know what this person stands for. This hashtag, and kind of like a web domain, this, I don't know how this person got this. I would guess it's in demand. The hashtag is hashtag Biden wins, or the @ symbol. That's the person's profile name. And the person describes himself as keeping the score of President Biden's wins, the largest online community of President Biden supporters. 361,000 followers on that profile. Not to brag, but I got 100 followers, I think, on X Twitter for this account, for my show, and then for my personal account, I think I got 300. Granted, most of them are bots that are following me that Elon needs to crack down on, but nevertheless, they are, I was going to say, they're humanoid robots, maybe. But nevertheless, by Win says, let's go President Biden. I got 773 likes. Were they ratioed, though? They weren't. So all the comments were negative to respond to that person, but those didn't get enough likes where it would be like a traditional ratio. Philip Anderson says, quote, you're full of crap. And it's that screenshot of Trump from 2009, or sorry, Biden in 2019 dissing Trump's plan for tariffs, that got 3.3 thousand likes. Danny Halflong says China dominates these industries because it invests in them. Tariffs won't spur investment. They will cut off the U.S. from the only country doing so. Killing 3 birds with 1 stone, your legitimacy, the U.S. economy, and your climate change fight. You're finished. I got 4.5 thousand likes. Planet of Memes, which F marketing today, they usually, I would say 50-50 shot in terms of when Planet of Memes responds in a meme form. But nevertheless, today, Planet of Memes simply said in text, didn't you call out Trump for doing the exact same thing? That, unquote, it got 9.6 thousand likes. Let's see here. Alzan Mazzari says, America is leading the world in tariffs and genocide. You demented mass murder. Unquote. I got 6,000 likes. Let's see. Let's see here. Shen Waihan says, Biden's confusion, the true ugly face of a sour loser and sabotage a global climate fight. 3.5 thousand likes. Now, that being said, many of these things are actually good, long-term ROI or long-term for, I would argue, for the Earth as well. If you are buying into the climate or the climate fight, the climate discussion, the issue with the solar panels, which they've gotten more efficient, they've gotten better throughout the years. So depending on where you live, it could be a positive fiscal investment. However, a wise man by the name of Thomas Sowell once said there's no such thing as solutions, only trade-offs. The issue with the solar panels is that they contain hazardous materials. And right now, the current technology we have to try to gain the raw materials back from the solar panels it's still a net negative for recycling. So that's, again, it's hazardous for the long term in terms of the disposable. Because again, like most everything in life, with the exception of maybe Glocks, I mean, everything does break eventually, and you have to, break down to components and recycle it. So again, that's the issue. Well, same with blades on the wind farms. The blades aren't exactly great for the environment as well. Those things also don't actually break even for decades. So partially digress. That did get 3.3 thousand likes. Let's see here. Tim Young said, didn't the left call Trump xenophobic and racist for the same thing? I'm quoting 7.7 thousand likes. Let's see. Sassafras says, I'm sure it was Trump's tariffs. Never forget, Trump got insulin lowered, and Biden went ahead and claimed that for himself, almost as if Biden hasn't plagiarized for the past 50 years. And it's a clip of Biden saying, oh, that's loud music. It's Biden finishing up a speech, and it says, Biden gets lost, confused, and tries to shake hands with the air. Which, yeah, if you're just tuning in, or if you're just listening, he quite literally turns and puts his hand out, and there's no one there. Which, most of the comments are saying he's thanking his voters or some pun to that effect. But yeah, he literally just moved and shook his hands to nothing. Let's see. Another post by Chen Wuhan says, remember the Biden now? China builds 80 in 1 hour. Biden is losing big. And it says Biden's $7.5 billion investment in EV charging stations has only produced 7 stations in 2 years. That was an article by Shannon Osaka. Let's see. It's from the Washington Post, actually, which, again, is not a post that is usually critical of the Biden administration. They obviously have a left-leaning bias. They got 1.9 thousand likes. So, yeah, definitely not increasing in popularity. And again, I understand the economic perspective and the argument for tariffs. And one of those instances, though, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how much this just tampers the importation of these products. And then at the end of the day, it's going to be passed on to us in terms of the price. Does it really protect American manufacturing? Does American manufacturing get to the price point where it can be aggressive without the tariffs? At the end of the day, it is, of course, political hypocrisy, which is disgusting and ridiculous, which most of them do it left and right. But let me know in the comments. Are you surprised by this hypocrisy? Do you think let me know what type of impact do you think this will have economically? As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.